Hey, my name is Alexis, and this is my language acquisition. I was raised by my parents and my maternal grandparents. My mother was born and raised in California, and my grandparents and my father were born and raised in Mexico. Therefore, I grew up speaking strictly Spanish. My mom always mentions that people would be very surprised when they would hear me speak because I spoke clearly and used big words like hipopótamo and refrigerador, and I was very young. But she attributes that to the fact that I was always surrounded by adults and I picked up on the way they spoke and the words they would use. My parents always encouraged me to say what it is that I wanted rather than just pointing at it. So if I would point, they would say, "What do you want?" or "¿Qué quieres?" until I told them, and then they would give me the item. So I learned that that was the quickest way for me to get what it is that I wanted if I just told them what it was. I was raised Catholic, therefore, my parents placed me in catechism classes that were given in Spanish so that I can learn how to read and write in Spanish, and it turned out to be very beneficial because it worked. By having put me in Spanish catechism classes, it was a cognitive learning strategy and a social learning strategy because I was forced to memorize prayers, which meant that I had to practice them verbally by writing them down and by reading them. Also, since the language I was spoken was Spanish, that's the language I had to practice. Unfortunately, I don't remember the transition from speaking only Spanish to learning how to speak English, but I know it has to do with the fact that I started school and it's English dominant. Also, I would speak mostly English around my cousins because that's the language that was more popular because of school. One of the reasons that I feel I retained my Spanish was because I became a translator for my grandparents, and they would take me with them wherever they had to go so that I could translate the information. Also, I was just used to speaking to them in Spanish, so it's something that I continued to do even after I learned English. In high school, I took two Spanish classes, and I loved them so much that I decided I was going to major in Spanish. So I received my BA in Spanish linguistics at Cal State Dominguez Hills. I wouldn't consider myself 100% bilingual, but I am pretty dominant in both English and Spanish.